There's no way that lady's a heartbeat away from the president.
We have seen what can be unburdened by what has been.
There's no way. There's no way someone is not telling her to stop saying that same thing over and over again.
To see what can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been? Like, she just says it over and over and over again.
To see what can be unburdened by what has been.
This isn't real. This is writing. Someone wrote this. It seems like a script.
The ability to see what can be unburdened by what has been.
By titles. I'm like, she was the Attorney General of the state of California. You know, like, how dumb could she be? Like, dumb. The answer is very, very dumb is the answer. And I've come to that conclusion just with my own eyes and ears from watching and listening to her. She cannot put two sentences together. I mean, the old man is actually losing his mental faculties. She's just not a smart person. And it concerns me because that's all we have in line on the Democratic side.
Joe Rogan punches record, Megyn Kelly leans in, and within seconds, a single line from Kamala Harris detonates into a comedy supernova. One phrase, the ability to see what can be unburdened by what has been, loops, stalls, and loops again like a vinyl caught in an eternal skip. Rogan blinks, wondering if he's trapped inside a cosmic glitch. Kelly just laughs. That crisp, did she really just say that twice? Sort of laugh. If speeches were amusement park rides, this one rocketed straight to the top of the verbal roller coaster list, all hairpin turns and no clear exit. Listeners buckle up for the wreckage tour. How a catchphrase became a meme. Online reactors don't debate substance, they screen capture the phrase, slap it on mugs, crop top tees, even novelty throw pillows. Within 12 hours, a dance challenge called Unburdened Shuffle surges on TikTok. Participants freeze mid-spin to recite the line with dead serious faces before collapsing into laughter. A sentiment tracker logs a 38% spike in laughing emoji reactions. Podcast panels dissect syllables like rare butterflies, each host inventing a different translation. The lesson lands hard. Modern audiences forgive contradiction faster than confusion. If words feel like Mobius strips, meme smiths will seize them, remix them, and outrank the original speech by breakfast. Rogan's play-by-play. Rogan starts slow, eyebrows creeping upward as if trying to escape his forehead. I've heard AI chatbots riff high and still land cleaner, he jokes, pretending to feed the transcript into a voice assistant with a hangover. Then he moves in for the breakdown, gesture by gesture, pause by pause, as though calling a title fight replay. First, the opener. Harris leans into the mic, shoulders squared, confidence unmistakable. Rogan freezes the mental frame. Here, he says, is where your brain expects the takeoff. Instead, the sentence circles the runway, no landing permission in sight, and loops back to the same departure gate. He compares it to a GPS stuck in recalibrating mode, the kind that insists on rerouting you through a lake because it refuses to admit the bridge is out. But the real punch lands when he highlights her tonal uptick, a melody that promises clarity and then drops the listener off at what just happened street. Mid-analysis, Rogan shifts from amusement to fascination. He's hosted nuclear physicists, chess grandmasters, Hall of Fame athletes, all masters at turning complexity into clarity. So the chasm between her confidence and her coherence electrifies him. He reads the sentence again, slower this time, as though expecting invisible ink to appear. The ability to see what can be unburdened by what has been. He repeats it the way linguists roll new sounds around their mouths, checking for hidden syllables. It's like opening a fortune cookie printed by Dr. Seuss, he declares. There's rhythm, there's even hope of meaning, but you keep looking for the decoder ring that never comes. Rogan then imagines a writing room. Picture a half-dozen staffers, caffeine drained, magnets on a whiteboard rearranging philosophical nouns. Ability, burden, vision, past. A buzzer sounds. Time's up, speech goes live. No one notices they've inserted the same prepositional phrase twice, until the entire internet notices for them. He dramatizes the staff's horror. Notification pings redlining their phones, each ping a new meme, each meme a new ringtone of mockery. Rogan savors the chaos, not out of cruelty, he insists, but out of a podcaster's genuine curiosity. How, he asks, does a communications team as seasoned as hers let a linguistic boomerang fly this wide? He's seen first-timers freeze on microphones. He's seen cage fighters forget their own names in adrenaline spikes. But this, he concludes, is stunt-level word acrobatics, except nobody lands the somersault. He caps the segment by challenging listeners to read the line aloud in one breath without squinting. Social feeds explode with number Rogan Read Challenge clips, participants trying, and inevitably breaking into laughter by the second unburdened. Rogan sets down his headset, exhales, and mutters, "That might be the first speech that gets funnier each time you try to make sense of it." And with that, he passes the mic, figuratively, to Megyn Kelly. Kelly's cross-examination. Kelly doesn't come in swinging, she comes in scalpel first. Her voice lowers to that courtroom register fans recognize, clear, clipped, lethal. Job titles impress, but sentences build trust, she begins, and we just witnessed trust flinch. Then she launches the autopsy. She reads the sentence once, then splits it into fragments. The ability? Okay, that promises skill. To see, vision, great. What can be? Potential, still tracking. Unburdened by what has been. And here she says, the noun train rear-ends the verb caboose. Kelly pauses for effect, the kind of pause that cracks courtroom silence before laying out the evidence. No concrete subject, no actionable verb, no measurable outcome. It's inspiration without architecture, she states. She shifts to delivery. Charismatic smile? Check. Emphatic hand motion? Check. But charisma, Kelly notes, is a spotlight that punishes shadows. The brighter the delivery, the darker the empty spaces between ideas. She quotes a stage director friend who says, "When performers miss a step, the spotlight doesn't hide it, it frames it." Kamala's spotlight, Kelly argues, framed a thought, whole the size of the Grand Canyon. Online transcripts posted in real time, auto-captioning stuttered, even closed captioning teams quietly inserted ellipses, as if to say, we're not sure either. Next, Kelly pairs the verbal loop with the infamous laugh reflex. She rolls footage. Tough question, brief stall, high-pitched laugh. She slows playback, highlighting the fraction of a second where nerves splice into sound, that tiny window revealing uncertainty before the practiced grin returns. Communication experts call it displacement laughter, a reflex that buys milliseconds of thinking time. Fine, except when it becomes the signature move. Now audiences wait for the giggle the way sitcom viewers await the catchphrase. Once your laugh becomes a punctuation mark, Kelly warns, every sentence ends in punchline, whether you wrote one or not. Finally, she zooms out. The role Kamala fills demands crisp messaging during crises, natural disasters, emergency briefings, high-stakes negotiations. Kelly imagines a press room filled with panicked reporters. They want numbers, timelines, instructions. Instead, they get Mobius scripture about burdens in the past. The room would freeze. Clocks tick louder. Confidence drains. That's the real risk, Kelly summarizes. Not public ridicule, but operational paralysis. She closes with a hypothetical fix. Strip the next speech to 8th grade reading level, ground each abstract in a literal example, rehearse with hostile question drills, and ban placeholder laughter. Or, she adds dryly, just tee up the memes early and call it performance art. She snaps her notes shut, sips water, eyes glittering. Her expression says she hopes the advice lands, but also that she's perfectly ready to catalog the next slip. With Kelly's dissection complete, the stage is set for the longer roast, sections 5 through 8, and a wrap-up that threads everything together. The laugh reflex. Every time Harris fields a tough follow-up, that instantly recognizable laugh erupts. High-pitched, lingering, almost like an audio emoji. Rogan calls it a built-in sound effect. Neurolinguists note laughter can diffuse tension, but only if clarity follows. Here, clarity stalls, laughter fills the vacuum, and viewers subconsciously tag the giggle as a placeholder for unfinished thoughts. Clip compilations bloom. Question, laughter, new question, same laughter. Comment threads diagnose it as nerves. Others call it strategy, but most just replay it for entertainment. One popular YouTuber remixed the sound into an EDM drop that hit 1 million views in a weekend. The real fallout? Future appearances now trigger anticipatory chuckles before she even starts speaking. That Pavlovian audience cue is brutal. It frames every word as potential punchline, daring her to break the cycle. Communication coaches warn that once a laugh becomes your brand, sincerity fights uphill. It's not malice, it's mechanics. Audiences can't unhear the ringtone once it's assigned to your contact. Missing in action moments. Rogan lampoons Harris's sudden vanishings after headline-making assignments. One day she's front row at ribbon-cutting photo ops. The next, she's radio silent when the same project hits turbulence. Kelly likens it to a magician perfecting the disappearing act, but skipping rehearsal for the reappearance. Viewers formulate their own theories. Is she coaching behind closed doors? Redrafting speaking notes? Hiding in an escape room filled with inspirational quotes? Each absence magnifies the next public stumble. Social channels fill the void with "Where's Kamala?" memes, stick figure search parties, cardboard cutout stand-ins at press events, Photoshop edits of her hiding behind ferns. The vacuum becomes narrative. Without a steady stream of on-camera fixes, commenters assume the glitches were features, not bugs. Communication pros call it the exposure principle. Show up often and gaffes blend into normalcy. Appear sporadically and every slip becomes a headline. Right now, the gap between appearances gives each gaffe room to echo like a shout in an empty hall. Syntax on shaky ground. Kelly tallies the greatest hits reel of verbal loops. Passage of time, work together, community as a community. Linguists break down why the phrases feel off. They're syntactic loops without concrete anchors. No verbs of action, no measurable nouns. Rogan imagines a speechwriting room using fridge magnet poetry. Someone bumps the fridge, and magnets rearrange mid-delivery. Copywriters suggest a fix. Anchor each lofty phrase to a single vivid example. We've seen what can be could become, we shipped vaccines to 10 million homes. Without anchors, speeches risk floating into metaphor marshland. And in the age of clips, floaty words invite punchlines. A TikTok creator deepfaked the speech onto a yoga class video, branding it Mindfulness Mad Libs. That clip outranked the original in algorithmic reach, proof that word clouds lose to visuals every time. If Harris wants the narrative back, experts say, trade circular mantras for concrete verbs. Audiences cling to imagery, not intangibles. Until then, magnet poetry memes will likely outpace official transcripts. Rogan Kelly tag team finale. With the roast approaching crescendo, Rogan and Kelly craft a mock commercial. Patriotic strings swell, flags wave, and a dramatized narrator booms, "Vote for clarity," because spin cycles belong in laundromats, not speeches. They swap slogans, words, use them wisely, experience you can Google, and fan favorite, confuse the nation one cackle at a time. Studio staff can't stop laughing. Listeners flood comment sections pleading for an actual merch line. Yet beneath the humor, they hit a universal nerve. Public figures, especially those next in command, must own the microphone. When clarity falters, trust drains. When laughter replaces answers, audiences look elsewhere. They close with a rare moment of sober agreement. History rewards redemption arcs. Tighten the syntax, finish the thoughts, and we'll cheer, Rogan says. Kelly nods. Until then, the memes write themselves. The outro music fades, but the larger takeaway lingers. Communication is an unforgiving arena. Master it, or risk seeing your every phrase remixed into the soundtrack of someone else's punchline. Wrap up. Why clarity still beats charisma. When the microphones finally cool and the clip compilations cycle toward tomorrow's feed, what lingers isn't just a single tangled sentence or a well-timed laugh. It's a reminder that language, plain, unpolished, and concrete, remains the most unbreakable currency in public life. Rogan's bewildered amusement and Kelly's razor-lined critique converge on the same lonely hilltop. Clarity still wins. Strip away the podcasts, the reaction videos, the merchandise humming through print-on-demand sites, and the lesson lies bare. Audiences, whether scrolling in a subway or replaying sound bites over dinner, yearn for messages they can repeat without mental gymnastics. It's not about being folksy or academic, it's about sounding human, a single thought delivered straight, with verbs that hold weight and nouns that hold water. Consider how the internet judged the moment. Confusion equals comedy. That's the equation meme culture scribbled in neon. But the subtext carries a warning label. In the age of infinite playback, rhetorical knots are forever artifacts, ready to be resurrected by every new trend cycle. They don't fade, they loop. And each replay subtracts a sliver of credibility, like digital erosion. No malicious commentator can damage a brand faster than the brand damages itself by refusing to finish a thought. Self-inflicted ambiguity is kryptonite. Rogan sensed that instinctively. Kelly mapped it analytically. One provided the belly laugh, the other the forensic file. Together, they formed a kind of verbal MRI, illuminating fractures beneath the glossy veneer of public messaging. Yet the takeaway isn't simply talk better. It's broader. Show up often with consistent substance. Because when silence follows confusion, conspiracy breeds in the gaps. When absence follows assigned duties, the vacuum grows meme teeth. And when laughter replaces an answer, the answer is whatever the loudest remix claims it is. The modern communication battlefield is unforgiving. Attention is scarce, skepticism is default, and editing software is free. Lines delivered without anchors drift into tidal currents of parody. Lines delivered with candor can outswim the currents, maybe even become life preservers for listeners hungry for direction. So, where does that leave our headline personality? At a crossroads that every public figure eventually faces. Double down on the brand veneer and pray the spotlight dims, or pivot. Embrace brevity, invite tough questions, anchor abstract ideals in stubborn little facts. The first option banks on fatigue, the second banks on growth. History, more often than not, favors growth. Audiences can be merciful to those who right the ship in public view. They're less forgiving toward captains who keep rearranging deck chairs while the hull leaks syntax. Rogan and Kelly may have roasted for laughs, but beneath the heat, there's a blueprint. Finish your sentences, match deeds to titles, and don't let a placeholder giggle become your signature song. Because the moment words lose gravity, gravity wins, and no title, however lofty, can keep a drifting message from floating straight into punchline orbit. Drop a comment with your favorite remix of the now legendary line, smash the like button if you lasted through the word salad maze, and hit subscribe. Next week, we dissect another viral moment where clarity stumbles and the internet pounces.